Can't miss out on any of this content. It's perfect, beautiful content.
About Mara being mad that she has like a Rumpelstiltskin type debt to people who have helped her move over the years, and then they all decide to move at once.
It was bullshit. I was like, I can't be dealing with this and me at the same time. God. It's fine. Also, the burp's not good. I had like Korean chicken and rice for dinner. And
what makes it Korean chicken?
The packaging said Korean chicken. Yeah. It's the Kevin's souffled meat. I don't know.
Souffled?
Sous vide.
Welcome to My Top Everything. I'm Marion.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Mara.
And this is a podcast where we, three best childhood friends, argue about anything and everything and play a little game called Who Can We Make More Uncomfortable? Who's the best at making people uncomfortable?
You, by far. You're the one that picks the fights the most.
No, you literally in the episode I just listened to, you talk. It is on record where you say, "I'm always picking fights." Like here I go again picking fights. Yes,
on the podcast.
Oh, you never pick a fight in real life?
I think you pick more fights in real life.
You literally started this fight here.
I was gonna say you're picking a fight right now.
Yeah.
Whoever answered whatever, there was never not going to be a fight with that question. So. It's not my problem. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Any updates?
Okay, so I did try. I have a small list of words that are difficult for me to pronounce.
And this is in reference to episode 12, Arch Rivals, where you talk about how you have words that you try to avoid because you don't like pronouncing them, but you do know what they mean. You were very insistent on that part. And you just don't like saying them. But you couldn't think of any at the time. So now you finally thought about it 3 months later when this gets published.
I'm sure I'll have more. These are just the ones I could think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
And I'm going to say them correctly right now.
Did you practice them?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Vehemently.
Vehemently.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's a hard one, actually. There's that random H in there.
Which, fuck you.
Yeah, and the M's and the N's.
Inauspicious? That one was right. Yes.
Yeah.
Controversial?
Yeah.
Controversial? Yeah.
Rivalry. It's the...
Rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
it seems like RVLs.
Yeah, it's the R's and the V's, man.
What about rendezvous?
No.
There's no L.
A rendezvous. I did take French and it was kind of hard for me, just pronunciation wise.
What does inauspicious mean?
Oh, no, this isn't supposed to be like a quiz.
You said there were ones that you...
Sorry. Oh my God.
You said that they were ones you knew the meaning
of. We were just going to move on.
Marion's picking fights.
I could use a sentence for some context.
What an inauspicious day.
Unseemingly.
Okay, first of all, did you look that up?
Nope.
And secondly, I would say,
my notes.
What does unseemingly mean to you?
Like just boring, like normal. Nothing's really happening. Like you're not expecting anything to happen.
Okay, what do you think auspicious means?
Oh my God. I don't know, clearly. Can you just tell me?
Because inauspicious is the opposite of that.
Obviously.
So if you know the root, then it's like a lucky day, a good day.
Auspicious?
Yeah. So it's an unlucky day.
What an auspicious day. Like it's kind of like in the way that suspicious is bad, auspicious is good.
Then I don't think I'm using it right.
So like inauspicious is like
just not a good day. Unpromising. Unseemingly. I wasn't that far off with unseemingly.
I think that counts, yeah. Though I don't know that unseemingly is a word.
I didn't think it was.
I'm not sure unseemingly is a word.
We're about to find out.
Unseemly. Oh, unseemly is a word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, that was a very succinct, good update.
Yeah, I like that one.
Our topic this week, in honor of the upcoming best holiday ever that Kara loves very much, Halloween, we are doing top 3 spookiest places.
It's not that I dislike it. It's just that I feel like other people are overly enthusiastic about it, and I don't get it.
Straight to jail.
So, like how people feel about your Christmas obsession.
Yeah, I get why people don't understand it, though. I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't get why you don't like Halloween. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's judge. And it's not that I don't like it. It's that I don't like scary things. So I would like to watch, like Halloween Town and like,
which is acceptable,
and all those sorts of
like
cute
Twitches.
Yeah, thank you. You're correct. I didn't want to get into this.
It's amazing how many times Twitches has been brought up on this podcast. Like, it is like wild.
It was the best book series ever.
I heard. What did you say? Because I heard something different than what I'm sure you said.
Me?
Who?
No, Kara.
I said that just generally, like, I don't think that I don't get the vibe. I don't like scary things. It's not that I dislike the dead. I respect them too much to fuck with them.
Oh, okay.
But you don't respect Jesus enough to leave him alone on his day of birth?
He wasn't born then. He was born in like April, wasn't he?
Up for debate.
I thought he was a Cancer.
That's June, isn't it?
Yeah, but
June
it's all
and
up
July.
for debate.
Yeah.
I think the historical references outside of the Bible make it seem like springtime, whatever that means. Could be February, could be May.
No.
Anyway.
You just say that you don't respect Jesus and we'll move on.
I respect the hell out of Jesus.
Oh my God.
So you don't respect spirits enough to celebrate them on their day of celebration?
I respect them. No, it's not that I don't like... It's not that I don't like celebrating the dead. It's that I don't want to anger any of them and have them like possess my body or anything. So I respectfully stay aback.
Abstain.
Stay aback. My number 3 spookiest place is parking lots or parking garages after 10 p.m. I think a parking garage after 10 p.m. is one of the spookiest places you can be because usually nobody's there. The fluorescent lighting is off, but usually there's still like the darkness seeping in weird gaps. You have to walk through stairwells, elevators alone where there's not really like usually good cell reception. And anybody could be hiding in between any amount of cars that you walk by, waiting to jump you. Under the cars, in the cars, behind the cars. Very, very spooky place. Not a good place to be. I hate them, especially the stairwell of a parking garage.
Oh my God, honestly. You know what? I think the middle is just as fucking scary, if not scarier, of a garage because the exit points are so far. From the middle.
Yeah.
And no one can hear you.
You know those garages where like there's 2 outer ramps and then an inner ramp and like sometimes you can see your car but you don't know how to get to it because when you go up like it's this weird like I don't know, it's Tetris. This crazy little like illusion, puzzle illusion.
Yeah, because there's actually 3 garages in one fucking area and somehow it's the worst.
And it's very spooky to me. I don't understand how like I can be trying to go up to the right, but somehow I don't end up at my car or whatever if I'm like walking up the ramps because I went on the wrong level. One time I was in one of these parking garages in Santa Monica and I was saying goodbye to a friend after volleyball and it was like 10 p.m. at night. And it was so loud as somebody came down from the top level, which is also scary. People accelerating in parking garages and like your tires naturally squeal on the material, which is scary. And somebody came Tokyo drifting around the ramp at us. And it was, I shit you not, a perfect replica of the Scooby-Doo mystery machine, which was terrifying. It was like, wow, this is a great murder van, except for the fact that it's super recognizable. But there was something very menacing about this mystery machine that had like the lettering and everything on it coming at us at like 40 miles per hour, I assume. I don't have like a baseball radar, but I know a pitch when I see one that's slow but fast for a car. That's the end of that sentence.
You didn't. I don't think radars measure speed. I think it's a speedometer. Or like
for the baseballers.
Is it actually called a radar?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Pitch radar is what I'm gonna look up. Baseball.
No, do radars measure speed? Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
But could it be both?
It's a radar gun is what it's called.
Which sounds like a speedometer to me.
And literally it's called baseball speed radar.
Okay.
Here's me blowing off my radar guns.
Nice.
I didn't think what?
Cool, Scooby-Doo. I'm safe. This is nice.
No, because it was like, what adult has insanely replicated this van in real life? And like, but it was like slightly janky, like it wasn't perfect. Imagine a janky off-brand mystery machine and it's speeding, it's like careening towards you. And there's no windows, except for the front, but the back is all painted up and you're just like, this is how I would go. Because it's Scooby-Doo, so it's already inherently spooky. And it's in a parking garage after hours. And it's squealing.
The gang itself isn't spooky.
Yeah, but the gang wasn't in it.
All right.
This is a real life person.
Yeah.
Yes, Kara.
You didn't see live action? I was going to say, did you know that the baseball radar guns won't work on cars because the car ones have to be certified in order for the police to use them? So they're technically
But that doesn't mean that the baseball wouldn't work on them, right? Like you can have something that's not certified but it still works.
Yeah, but the quality isn't.
Like if you're asking, or if you're saying that policemen don't use baseball speed radars.
I don't know. I regret this. Cut this.
Me too.
Damn it. I just thought it was interesting. I didn't know that you had to have a certified radar gun.
That does make sense that the police would need that.
Yeah, now that I've said it out loud. And I interrupted you to say it nonetheless, which is awesome.
To answer your question, did I know that? I think I could have guessed that. Yeah. Any other weird, slightly off, boring facts, Kara? How many people do you think that made uncomfortable? It seemed to make Mara a little uncomfortable.
Not really. It's just my face reacting. I
think she's bored.
I'm vibing.
Oh, I just completely fucked that up. Killing it.
You can't just say I'm bored. What the fuck, Kara?
Are you?
I mean,
talking about radar guns?
Think I would be having a 5-minute conversation about radar guns at 8:30 on a Tuesday. No. Do I regret asking a follow-up question and not just Googling it myself? Yes. Yes, I do.
I think you both do.
I know.
So I'm going to go next.
Okay.
My number 3 top spookiest place are windows at night. As in, I'm inside, all my lights are on, and I haven't put my blinds down or closed my curtains yet.
Yeah.
Until I notice it, I'm like, oh my God, who's out there? What can they see? Who's looking in? Because you can't see anything out there. And I don't know. People.
You're on full fucking display.
What are you doing out there? And why is it? No.
You're Marion's dream.
Close
well, I mean, it's the way she's talking about it. That angle is spooky. If you're on the other side, it's co's.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're out, but those are two different things.
That's interesting that one person's spooky can be another person's cozy.
Wild.
But it's not, because if I were on the same side as Mara, I would also say spooky.
But I'm picturing the people looking in as creepers. Like they're not They're not a
from
nice
that
person.
perspective, from that whole space, yes, they are creepers.
Yeah, so you're the creeper in my situation.
I'm saying that these are two completely different spaces that we're talking about. They're not actually the same thing.
I think it's the same event though. Like it's the same scenario, same situation. That's what I was saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
On one space, it's cozy. On the other space, it's spooky.
Yeah. Grayson and I listened to an audiobook because apparently our overlapping interests in audiobooks are scary murder stories. And we listened to one called The Green
Cactus.
What is it? The Green Glass House or something like that, Grayson. And basically the whole story takes place in a cabin that is basically made of glass on the edge of a wooded area. And so anybody at any point could just be like sitting behind one of the little like trees, like poking around and looking at you. And it's the whole, and then I remembered that because we're going on like a week-long cabin thing before we move. And it's basically a cabin made of all fucking glass on the edge of a wooded area. And I was like, no fucking thank you. We're going to be on full display like Mara's nightmare.
Are you still staying there?
Yeah, because I can't undo it. I didn't notice it until after I booked it. But there's no blinds and curtains.
There's no blinds. So out of your month left, you're going to spend a week of it not there?
It's because our landlord basically couldn't accommodate our
move out
time. So we had to move out earlier.
That's annoying.
And now you get to get murdered in a glass cabin.
Yeah.
I agree. This is a very scary thing you're talking about, Mara. It's a good one. Spooky place. Your window at night, looking out. Very spooky.
Kara's future.
Marian's excitement.
No, not for that way. I completely agree. That way is scary.
Yeah.
Also, my way is at dusk, so it's not completely the same. I'm looking at dinner time. I would say you're not so creeped out by the window at dinner time. It's like post dinner time, but scary.
Yeah. When you're in a reclining position, reading your book or watching TV, and somebody's just watching you.
No. Fuck no.
Okay. My number 3, I wanted to say like underground places because just generally I feel like underground is terrifying, but I'm going to limit it to cellars specifically. Like basements are scary, but they're attached to the house. Like the door to get into the basement is usually in the house. Cellars, their entrance is on the outside. So you don't know how long somebody could be in there. They could get in there more easily than your house. They're fucking underground. They got spiders everywhere. It's dark. It's cold. It's damp. It's scary.
I'm trying to think of a cellar I've been in. That was scary.
I went into some wine cellars in Spain that were very creepy because it was basically just lines of wine barrels, which are very large and very easy to hide behind. And it was super dark. And that's the reason they exist is because they're dark and basically like non-changing at any point in time. And I don't like it.
I've never been in a cellar, and I can say
In Iowa?
I've never been in a cellar. Who do I know
every
the
house
cellar?
had a basement? Your grandparents, maybe? On a farm?
Maybe the farmhouse.
Yeah. Most farmhouses in Iowa have cellars from the old days because they didn't have basements, really.
They were moved out of the farmhouse by the time I was when I was born, like the same year, essentially.
I was going to say, I think like the movie Alien or Twister, they all had cellars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen Twister.
Cellars. Yeah.
Signs, that's what I was thinking of. Signs.
When I worked at the university club, there was like a cellar. It was refrigerated though, but it wasn't that bad. The scary part was like the kitchen, which was in the basement at night after all the chefs had left, and like I'm taking out the trash. There's something about like the kitchen because the pilot light still stays on for the oven or the stove. So it's like
menacing.
There's a little bit of light. And then there's like all the dishware and dishes and then like, different racks of
surfaces,
things. Yeah. Lots of places to feel like you see something out of the corner of your eye.
My basement steps had no back to the steps. So it was just slats of wood. And so when you walk up, every time I walked up my basement stairs, I always felt like somebody was going to stick their hand in between the slats and grab my foot and pull me under.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. My number 2 spookiest place is a specific geographical place, which I think I've talked to you guys about, but I don't think I've said it on this podcast. Hopefully not. It's these brine pools in the Gulf of Mexico. So like on the seafloor, like 6,000 feet down, so like halfway to the Titanic, there's lakes, and there's like one specific lake that was on BBC's Blue Planet 2, The Deep, which is episode 2, if anyone wants to go watch it. And it's this 45-foot deep lake on the bottom of the seafloor. So basically like brine liquid comes out of the seafloor that then is so heavy it like pools and creates a lake on the bottom of the sea, which is really crazy in the first place. I can see Kara's not listening. She's typing.
You said it was crazy in the first place. It's a brine pool and it's a lake. I'm looking it up.
Oh, I see. You're looking at it.
Yeah, because it's terrifying.
Yeah. So this is like past the Twilight Zone. It's extremely dark here. And if you can imagine eels and fish floating above the lake, so they're already doing weird floating things, but then different fish will try to go into the lake to get the fish that have died there as food, like to scavenge it basically. But the thing is that it's so briny that you can die, like the animals, fish can die of toxic shock.
Oh shit.
So you can't stay in there very long or you'll start seizing.
It's like 3 times saltier than the ocean water.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's very, very salty. And like there's all these like mussels that have like there's a lot of life around the edge. It's this very like weird like limbo place between life and death where like if you get too close to it, you're going to die. But there's all these mussels and different creatures that are around the edge that are living off of it. And then in the show, there's these they're called cutthroat eels, which I think is already spooky, but they like try to dive down to get food. And they have this video of like an eel who goes down and it comes back up and it starts seizing from the toxic shock. And if you can ever get the chance to watch it, it's so spooky. It like ties itself in knots as it's trying to get rid of the salt in its blood. And it's seizing just in the air kind of because you can't see the water. It's very weird. And fun fact, there's this one oceanographer in a different video talks about how there's only one fish that's like really good at diving and getting dying fish and not like seizing. And that's called the hagfish. Also spooky that it's fucking called a hagfish. And it's prehistoric. It's like hundreds of millions of years old. And yeah, it's the only thing that can survive the brine. And literally in this documentary, they talk about how the brine lake has this like misty layer on top, almost like a witch's cauldron. They literally say that. Like the mist like flows off of the lake.
Dry ice style.
Yes, it is like honestly, like it's in a spooky place already. It's an extremely unusual spooky thing. The things that interact with it are spooky. And when they get hurt is spooky. And then imagine all the dead half fish like sticking out, decades of things that have died that, you know, living things are still trying to collect and eat.
Pretty well preserved, huh?
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I wonder if it acts like a little preservation area. Fuck, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's like mummifying them.
The saltiest jerky you've ever had.
Is that what is it called? The hagfish? Does it eat the dead fish?
Like that's why different creatures risk doing it. It's a good, reliable food source, but then, you know, you could become the good, reliable food source if you're not careful.
It just seems like there would be other than the hagfish, you would think there would be an evolutionary reason that they would continue to try. Because like eventually,
it's the seafloor. The seafloor, like there's not a lot down there to eat at all. Like you gotta get what you can, and like lots of things are scavengers because of that. Have you ever seen a whale fall?
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. So you're gonna just naturally go to scavenge and hope that you can make it through if you're not too stupid.
It's a rough life. Yeah, that's a good one. I like the Witch's Cauldron comparison specifically. That was
cute.
That was the hook, line, and sinker. +1. Good fucking job. Love that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can I go? I know that it's out of order, but can I go next?
Sure.
What's
Okay,
your reasoning for going next?
Because it's related, and I think that you're gonna make fun of me. So my number 2 is the ocean floor, just generally, because we've only explored 10% of the ocean floor.
Wild.
And it is terrifying. Like every time we go down, it is just like fucking new ass shit pops up. It's even darker than we fucking thought. There's new fucking shit popping out of everywhere. I saw this video the other day of this like mastodon shark eating another shark down there. Only 3 people have been to the Mariana Trench. The big blue hole, or what is it called? The Great Blue Hole in Belize. Have you seen pictures of that?
Nah.
Fucking Mar, look it up. Fucking terrifying. It's basically just like the ocean is only maybe like, I don't know, 20 feet deep or whatever across this area. And then there's just this giant hole seemingly to fucking nowhere. And people have tried to explore it. They die. It's terrifying. Then their bodies just float to the bottom or like sink to the bottom of this fucking seemingly endless hole. Ocean floor is a terrifying place.
I was reading something that, those giant squids, how like we don't see them often, but people were estimating that their population is actually really huge. That's it. That's the full story.
I saw a video of a giant squid the other day that poofed itself up into like this huge fucking balloon.
Yeah.
You shared it with us.
Did I? Good job, Kara. Fucking amazing. I'm fascinated by, like, I would love to watch. Like, they're like stories long. They're like, 4 stories buildings long.
Yeah, and the video doesn't really capture their size because there's like nothing next to it for scale.
Yeah, so it just looks like, that is so crazy to think about.
It's like the Kraken. I can see why people like came up with the idea of the Kraken, right? If you were to see this concept, like this thing.
Yeah. I have this distinct memory of being at a church function fucking somewhere, and I don't know, my answer to something was the ocean, because they were like, oh, God is like there in places that are
unexplored.
Okay. Yeah. And I was like, oh, so like the ocean, and I got fucking made fun of.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck those kids.
God's not in the ocean. That's why the ocean's like that. God's like, fuck that place, man. The devil can have it.
Yeah.
It ain't worth my time.
This is why the idea of going on like a cruise or something is such a fucking far-fetched idea. I would never. Unless I can see land. Yeah. That's one of my... Do you remember open water? It's one of my fears.
Cruises are so safe, like compared to other types of sea exploration. If you even want to call a cruise sea exploration.
I don't want to do any. I wouldn't do any of them.
I saw a whale on my cruise.
That's pretty cool. But I can go on a boat in the Puget
I would
Sound
say like I'm more scared of like flying over the ocean than I would be of a cruise.
I'm pretty sure the impact would kill me. Like if the plane falls from the ground or from the sky 30,000 feet, you're probably dead on impact. So like you don't really have to deal with the repercussions. If you have like a slowly sinking Titanic situation,
where you like can't even tell that it's sinking while it's happening until the very end.
That's almost better, because then you don't have to suffer as much. I think the suffering, the knowledge of just like the ocean, the endless, those, Marion, I know you like this because I've talked about this to you, but those videos where you're like swimming and you have the video of just like never ending ocean below you. It gives me the biggest.
Yeah, that's scary. It was very scary.
Spooky.
Would you say that the deep ocean is spookier than space? And if so, why?
Why? Because I think it's the unknown, right? Like with the dark, people are scared of the unknown. With the like scary kitchen or the basement or the parking lot, it's always like something or someone can be hiding. And I think that's kind of a similar idea with the ocean, whereas space, we have a pretty good handle on the fact that within a certain distance, there's not really life.
Yeah, like I agreed, yes, for the same reason. The ocean is just, it's fucking here. It's in our backyard. And I can't escape that. Versus I'm gonna be long fucking dead by the time we can ever prove that there's an alien out there.
I think I'm fascinated by space because it's like just rock and physics and light and that sort of thing. Like things that we grapple with but are kind of like intangible. And I know that the moment that something went wrong in space, boop, I'm dead. Like there's no suffering. And I feel like with the ocean,
there's more
there's so many
scenarios.
things that are gonna pick apart my body. Something could come up from below and just like, you know, sort of hurt me but not eat me, and then I have to like swim around with my half-eaten leg, attracting more things and suffering for days and getting sunburnt and no water, and then you try to drink the salt water and then you fucking die because of that. There's just so much wrong for humans with the ocean.
You will die faster in space. It takes about 15 seconds for you to pass out, and it takes like 30 to 45 seconds to drown.
Okay.
But if you're in a submersible, like our Titan
instant
friends,
you don't even realize.
It'll be instant.
Yeah.
You won't know. It'll be just like space in a way.
But space isn't instant. You have 15 seconds of, well, I'm
okay,
dying.
so it's
a long
better
time.
than space then.
But that's a very specific scenario.
If you're that deep.
Yeah.
I'm never going that deep.
Yeah. I learned my lesson.
Oh my God, as if I could ever fucking afford that.
Mara, what's your number 2?
My number 2 spookiest place is my house when Tonks is being a cunt. Nobody is safe. Everybody is a victim, and it's terrifying. She's a bee, a little diva, my little queen.
Is it spooky?
Yeah.
Or is it scary? Is that what you were going to say?
I was gonna. She said terrifying.
I think it's
I also said
spooky.
terrifying with respect to the ocean.
Yes, but is it spooky? What makes it
She's sinister.
spooky?
She is out to get me.
Like you feel like she's
Spooky is
possessed?
literally causing fear or unease.
Yeah, but we do use the word spooky, you know, in a certain way. Like, is it because she's like she's got a demon
feel
in
like
her?
The line between spooky and scary is very thin.
I agree. She is scary. I just recently was at a coworker's house that had cats, and I told the story about how I got trapped, or maybe I'm misremembering my own fucking memory. One of us got like kind of trapped in the hallway because Tonks refused to let us get from the bedroom to the bathroom. I think it was me.
I've had one where I was trying to put stuff in that little like storage space in between.
No, closets are hers. It's terrifying.
It wasn't
Can't
even a
open the door.
closet, but like she never goes back there. And then because I was trying to do stuff, she like went and sat on a plastic tub and was like yowling and like making a noise I'd never heard before. And
yeah, she would
I feared for
go
my
back
life
in that crawl space when we were trying to get shit out.
Yeah, that was like the camping stuff area. Terrifying.
Yeah, she like suddenly had a very deep possession of a space if you would ignore it if you weren't there or ignoring it yourself. But the minute you gave such a space attention, she was there claiming possession over it, making it impossible to do anything.
I feel like I've been trying to think. I think spooky is almost like a hint of the unknown, whereas scary is like, you know, the fear and you are scared. Not that I'm trying to dismiss I was just trying to think of the difference between scary and spooky. Spooky is like cuter, you know, it's like less intense.
Spooky comes from the Dutch word for apparition or specter.
Apparition, like ghost.
Other synonyms can be, yes, specter, like ghost as well. Chilling, creepy, eerie, ghostly, mysterious, ominous. Ominous. I would say
I
that
feel like
she's
she fits
ominous.
like 3 of those. Yeah.
She's definitely ominous.
Because
She's
also,
always on.
you do know that there is a chance of you to get attacked.
That's true.
But she doesn't always do it. And sometimes it's just meowing and it's not consistent. Or sometimes she runs at you and I get bit, you know?
She is orange and black colored. So
she's
Halloween colors.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you here. Don't.
Yeah,
don't,
that's why I stopped.
Don't refute it.
Go. Yes.
You're gonna be like, here's why that's not true. Why she's not spooky.
Yeah. But, you know, she really brings down the vibe of the house when she's in a bad mood.
Honestly, I'm on edge every time.
Ooh, somebody says that the adverb spooky is a way that is intended to be frightening, but in an enjoyable way.
Cute.
Ooh.
That's kind of what I said. It's like cuter, softer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Should we go to our sponsors?
Yeah. Let's all hop in the mystery machine.
Yoinks!
I don't think it's Yoinks.
It's Zoinkers.
Jinkies!
Yes. Yoinks! Lobbed it.
It's oinked now. Poinked, oinked, yoinked, whatever you said.
You just said oink.
Yep.
Don't try to drag Mara down with you here.
I have to. I'm pretty low right now, you know? What's our number 3 sponsor, Marianne?
Our number 3 sponsor is our sound producer and general lovable guy, Grayson. Bow, 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 bow. He's the hostess with the mostest.
Nice.
Our number 2 sponsor could be you. Yes, I'm talking to you, you little cute spooky thing. I was trying to think of a non-gendered term, but I could only think of
thing.
boy with BOI, but it didn't really, I don't think that really comes across.
You could say like ghoul or ghost or little monster or...
You spooky little monster. You could be our number 1 sponsor. Get really frightening by texting a friend, not the friend that you already texted the last time I requested this, but a new friend, a friend who doesn't know about this podcast. You text them right now. Don't wait. Right now. I'll wait. You don't wait. I'll wait.
Unless you're driving.
I'm the captain now. What'd you say, Kara?
I said unless you're driving.
If you're driving, pull over. Great job. Good pulling over. Go ahead and flip off that person who honked at you for pulling over.
Oh my God, you can't do that in America. You might get shot.
Flip them off with your mind. Telekinesis, as Mara would say, telekinesis. Flip them off with your mind. Okay, I believe you texted. Great job. You're our number 2 sponsor.
Thanks, bitch.
We love you, little ghoul.
Does anyone have a number 1 sponsor for this week? I didn't think of one.
Okay.
All right, our number 1 sponsor is Haunted Houses, the spookiest, funnest places on Earth. Which is why we didn't mention them, because it would be repetitive. It goes without saying. My number 1 spookiest place is any like private bathroom where the door is closed, the lights are out, and someone's spinning around saying Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Because to this day, I know that I've tried to do that as a joke.
To me.
To anyone. And it doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter what you believe. I've never had somebody not lose their shit on me as they try to get out of that room before I finish saying it.
I'm breaking that bathroom door.
I'm putting my hand over your mouth. And
there's
you to the ground.
usually shrieking involved. There's a fight for the lights to turn back on. The door needs to be opened. Anything other than saying that. And therefore, I think it is quite possibly the spookiest place to exist, because to this day, it's still scary to me. Like, I would still be scared if somebody did that to me. I like to do it where I shut the door and usually a person's trapped alone in there. And then I start shouting, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming that the light is on the outside. Like
I was just in St. Louis where that was the case. And I was like, I hate this. Like, why would you give somebody that power over you? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And just for the bathrooms, because like the bedrooms in this Airbnb had lights on the inside, so it could happen. You could do it, but then the bathrooms had lights on the outside.
I feel like it's an older house thing. Was it an older house?
Yeah.
Like my mom's, when I was growing up, my mom's house had that. And it was like a, I don't know, 30s, 40s house.
Which makes it even worse because old houses are already inherently spooky.
Right? The creaky floorboards, the draftiness. No, thank you.
The character.
The lack of extra board behind the fucking stairs. Because they're old.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But anyway, that one's pretty cut and dry for me. I just think it is the spookiest spot you can be in.
Now, why would you induce that on somebody else? Because why would you do that?
I do think it goes back to what we were talking about spooky being like running this line of like scary but also enjoyable. Like, you know, it's like in between those two things. And I do get giddy when I do it. Like, I like being a little freaked out. I like freaking somebody out a little bit. There's usually laughter involved, you know, like, but like hysterical laughter of being afraid. But there's some type of adrenaline there. I assume it's kind of like what other people, not me, get from watching a scary movie. Like, I'm not that radical, can't do that and like feel good about it. But I know that there are people who like Savina enjoys a scary movie. I've never like enjoyed a scary movie, but I think the closest I've gotten to something slightly more on the spooky, less scary side. And that's like, this is my scary movie where I just like to be a little spooked. I like when someone else is a little spooked.
If somebody wasn't spooked and they let you get to the way, would you do it?
What a killjoy. I could totally see Matt doing that. It's just like, which just upsets me.
It is very scary, though, to be locked in the bathroom while you're saying that. And it's not.
Yeah.
There's no giddiness when you're the one locked in the bathroom.
There's some giddiness for me. Yeah. If I'm there with you.
Yeah. You're not always inside.
Different perspective. It's not the same thing.
Different people. Call back.
I would say if the other person weren't scared at all, would I finish? I don't know. I think I would be.
Title of your sex tape.
Nice. I don't think we've had one on the podcast yet.
I don't think we have either.
Good job.
I think I would be like kind of giggle shouting, like, you know, like, ah, like not sure if I was going to do it. I don't know. That would be an audible. I don't know if I would finish it, to be honest, because I would be severely freaked out by that point. But would the person not panicking make me less panicky? I'd be like, what's the fun? You know, because then if I get murdered, it's just not the same. Like if the other person believes in it, at least we're in this together. If like one person doesn't believe in it.
Well, it's not like if one person doesn't believe in murder, they don't get murdered. You both get murdered.
I don't know. I feel like you have to believe in
eternity now.
I think you have to believe in Bloody Mary a little bit to give her power. It's like a Tinkerbell situation.
Of the Supernatural episode. No, you're dead.
What happens? Is that a like actual thing? Somebody gets locked
they
in the bathroom
do a
and
Bloody Mary.
It's like one of the first episodes they do on the first season because it was one of the first ones I watched, and I almost didn't continue on with the show because I was so scared. And I'm glad I kept going. But yeah, like one of the first few episodes is their Bloody Mary episode, and it is quite frightening.
Season 1, episode 5.
Yeah.
So they're a little broy. I don't know if I could rewatch that these days.
Does anyone know the origin of Bloody Mary?
I don't want to look that up.
I think it's...
I'm looking it up.
Oh, here it is. So, okay. So Mary of England, Mary the First of England, had around 300 religious Protestants burned at the stake during her reign, earning her the nickname Bloody Mary.
That doesn't have anything to do with darkness or mirrors or bathrooms.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for later.
Yeah, this can be an update. A terrifying update.
Chilling.
My number one all-time spookiest place to be for me is most basements. And I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out. It's not. It's most basements. I'm sticking with my answer. My childhood home, the basement, you could shut the light off either from the top or the bottom. And sometimes I would shut the light off from the bottom, and then you have to, or my parents were like, it's time for bed. And so they'd shut the fucking light off on me. And then so I'm
You have to like run up the stairs.
running up the stairs. It's terrifying. No, thank you. And then the basement at work. I know I've talked to you guys about this. I've had to go in several times, and it's just, there's always something eerie in that every single time. And there's like sometimes other people down there, but I'm like, do you work here? What are you doing here? Like, are you just walking down here? What's happening? And like the one time that I went down there, and there was just the wheelchair just not even like properly put away, just like in the middle of the walkway, and the lights were flickering. I was like,
who was using it? Where did they go?
Are you coming back?
They just leave it there.
How did it get here in the first place?
Probably just wheeled out of place. Sometimes
wasn't even next to the
reasonable.
elevator.
Or do they store wheelchairs in the basement of your work for some reason?
Cannot be where they store those. How is that helping anybody if not by the front desk?
I don't think they just wheeled out of place.
No. One time though, they were welding shit when I had to go down there, and there was just sparks flying above my head. I was like, you're really gonna let me walk under this? Okay.
And they just let you look at it. You're supposed to have like all these goggles and stuff because I burn your eyeballs.
You know, not that tall. It's like,
well, if you look at the soldering,
like a ceiling situation with wires,
like 10 feet.
Sure. It's a pretty tall ceiling because the chamber down there is at least 12 feet in height.
I feel like the word chamber is spooky, by the way.
Yeah, well, there's several of them down there that I have to go into.
No, thank you.
Terrifying.
Yeah, on my short list, I had 2 types of basements.
Mm-hmm.
The first was unfinished basements, which I think is spookier than just any basement. An unfinished basement, like Anna's unfinished basement.
Yeah, or my mom's.
Because unfinished basements, one, people are usually just using them as storage. So there's like not a lot of rhyme or reason. Though I will say people who used unfinished basements like as like workout spots or like actually have shit in there, almost spookier, almost creepier when like the walls aren't really done. It's a like cement floor. There's like these wooden beams everywhere. And and there's like one bulb with no shade or like anything just there. You have to pull a string to turn it on. Like it is truly unhinged. But yeah, there are very few basements I haven't vaulted up the stairs from, just out of like sheer suspicion that there was something following me. My other honorary
Kara
basement
hasn't gone yet.
mention.
Okay.
Still just basements.
All
is church basements.
That's a good one.
When you think of
that one doesn't really scare me.
Really?
When I think of like, first of all, crypts, which is a lot of like church basements, scary name, just right off the bat.
Crypt. I thought crypts were only in like cemeteries.
No,
you can be in both.
There are definitely crypts in churches because I went to one in Scotland and I found a note in one of them and I thought, what? Am I in the Da Vinci Code? Yeah.
What did it say?
It was actually very cute. So this church was actually like talked about in the Da Vinci Code. So I went there because my mom said that the people who founded the church, we were part of that Scottish family, blah, 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 Knights Templar, something, something. So I went there to just go visit it. And I went into the crypt being like, oh, I hope I see something kind of scary. And then there was this note behind a little vase in the wall. And the note was rolled up. And it was 2 women from Australia whose mom had died and passed away and had always wanted to go to this church and go to Scotland. And so they went for her after she passed away, like in her honor, and they put a little note there. Yeah. Aww. But yes, a crypt is, quote, an underground room or vault beneath a church used as a chapel or burial place. And it's usually like an empty stone room and there's like one table in it. And it's just very, very creepy.
And there are dead bodies decomposing in the place that you are currently standing. There's like, no, it's not a guess. They're fucking there. They did it.
I guess the crypt at the Vatican didn't really creep me out. And that's like...
Is that the one with all the skulls? There's like one crypt that's just made of skulls.
No,
It's
this
very
is the one where all
spooky.
the popes are buried.
Oh,
See, that is spooky. That is
That's-
spooky
yeah.
that there's a crypt full of
I
anyway.
didn't. It was kind of homey. It was very well lit. Lots of
I think
candles.
this is your Catholic coming out.
Maybe.
There's no other explanation.
Yeah.
Some of these pictures that I did look like the just straight wall made of skeletons. That's unhinged. That's
I think
a little
that's in
creepy for
Portugal,
me.
right?
I think there's
And they like
multiple.
line.
There's multiple. Anyway, so that's like traditional churches, but then our church, even, which is a Unitarian church, is not even that old or anything, or has a lot of traditions. The basement, just like, first of all, churches have like a musty smell to them, but I feel like it's worse in a church basement. And then like in ours, it was just, sometimes there's childcare often in the basement, and that's creepy when like there's fluorescent lights but there's no children there, and there's just toys strewn everywhere, and then like dark rooms with couches and all these like religious symbols. It's just
Yeah. Well, and
So that
also
was
our
my-
child care, the infant care room, if you remember, had the whole one wall was just made of glass. So again, the situation where you're inside and everybody else is. Yeah. Okay. We've agreed that underground basements are terrifying. Okay, my number one is Isla de las Muñecas. It's in Mexico. It means island of the dolls. This should tell you how much I love Grayson, because I almost took him here, but I mentioned it before they bought the tickets. Thank fucking God. So it's basically in this area of Mexico City called Xochimilco. It's like this older area with like a bunch of canals. And there's this one island, and the story goes that this guy, Don Julian Santana, like moved to this little island in the middle of fucking nowhere. And then one day, it's unclear like if he saw a daughter drown or like some other girls drown, but either way, he witnessed a young girl die in the water. And then he either found a doll of like his kids and pinned it to a door or like a tree or something, or he like found the girl's doll and nailed it to a tree. But and then he started collecting dolls, either like finding them in the dirt or like in markets or whatever. He started trading food for dolls in any condition. So like they'd be missing eyes, they'd be decapitated, missing limbs, whatever. And he would just nail them to anything on the island. So now this island is just filled with all these fucking creepy ass dolls just nailed to shit. And apparently they found the way that he died 50 years later was in the exact same spot that the little girl drowned, and he drowned.
Whoa.
Right.
That
Yeah.
part's crazy. So you mentioned it to Grayson and he didn't want to go?
Yeah, which I was so surprised by.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Does it make it less spooky? Because it seems like it's, based on what I just looked up, is a pretty popular tourist destination.
I don't know if tourism makes something less creepy. I think that's like a fascination people have, like watching murder documentaries and stuff,
But if you're like walking around and there's just like 20 people walking around with you.
From
in the
what I read when
daytime-
I was researching it, it was like you and your partner would go on a tour. Like there wasn't popular from what I read, but I could be wrong. I think, yes, I think any of these, if you connect being alone to the place that we're talking about, is always creepier than if you're with other people in the place. Like if you're walking through a fucking haunted house alone versus like 20 of your best friends, or if you're in a basement with 20 people versus alone is always scarier.
Yeah.
No matter what.
It's not on an island. It's like, looks really landlocked to me.
It's called Isla de las Muñecas. Isla means island.
Is it? So it's not the island of the dolls?
It is.
It looks like you missed one part of his death that I think is extra spooky, which
Okay.
is, so it was in 2001. His nephew was at the island to help the guy because he was 80. The man started singing passionately, claiming that mermaids in the water were calling for him. So then the nephew left briefly, and when he came back, he was face down in the canal in the same spot.
Nope.
So there could be sinister mermaids at work.
He also said that he could frequently hear people around, but at the time that he was living there, there was nobody for like 10 miles in any one direction.
Siren.
Also, there's no confirming. There's also like, I read a couple of articles and there's like nobody else saw the girl die. So they're like, maybe he like didn't really see it, or he went crazy, or maybe like it was like an apparition.
And maybe it was a
or whatever.
mermaid and the mermaids have had it out for him and he resisted them for like
Yeah.
however many years.
And they're not sure if like he put up the dolls because he was trying to protect her from like water demons, or if he was trying to protect himself, or if he was trying to pay homage to the girl. Like they don't really know why he did it.
This guy sounds kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. A little bit.
A little.
Apparently he was normal before he moved there, but
The
I
land
don't know
is
who moves to an
cursed.
island in the middle of fucking nowhere and then stays there once he sees that and like starts collecting dolls. So yes, you're probably right.
Mm.
Anyway, that's my number one. I'm really glad that Grayson said no. That was
Really?
Yes.
It's like a once in a lifetime.
I guess I
Well, then
don't
we can go.
find
I
this
don't wanna
as
go.
spooky because like it seems almost like an art display.
No,
Have you looked at the pictures?
It's like an artist.
It's not an art display.
Yeah. Like
It's pretty scary.
If you like walked into the Stanley Hotel and someone had written "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy" on every available surface, and you saw fucking Jack Nicholson coming down the hallway swinging an axe, would you just be like, "Oh, this is cute. This is like an art display"? No,
but you're first of all, you're describing a live person and like kind of a haunted house, honestly. But this is like just static dolls. Like if you look at the picture I sent you, there's like a dog there hanging out. There's like
just
water.
because there's other creatures doesn't make it less creepy.
art done by a madman is still the nonsensical ravings and creation of an unhinged mind, and there is something very spooky about that. Plus, I've seen a lot of paranormal investigations about the island. That place is haunted as fuck.
There's actually a tree. I'll send you guys a picture. Maybe we can post it on our Instagram when this comes out. But there's actually a tree that's very similar to this in my neighborhood that I run and walk past all the time that has like children's toys and things on it. And like they're hanging it on the tree. But I find it like it seems like it's a collection. It's art.
You are going to be the person that someday you do something really fucking weird and they're going to go back and find this podcast episode and they're going to say, oh, well, you know, she was always that way.
She had it coming. Is that what you're going to say?
No, she was always going to do that.
You had the dolls that you moved into our place with.
I think, okay. One time, do you remember, you weren't there, I was alone. One time I went to that duplex to drop off stuff in my room. And I think I went to unfold the mattress that I had bought because it needs to like sit for a couple days.
Yeah.
And I was doing that and I heard something from Marion's room and I was like, oh, okay, like an alarm or something is going off. And I went in there and one of her fucking dolls was singing.
No.
Oh my God.
Unsubscribe.
What? Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
I think anywhere that children's toys exist without a child, also creepy.
Yes.
Also, he like defaced these dolls very much so.
He apparently found them the way they were and pinned them up. So somebody else defaced them,
God.
tore their limbs off, tore the eyeballs out, all these things. And he would always put them the exact way he found them.
Made them look half decapitated.
Also, that says a lot about people, you know, just.
This article calls it his opus.
Oh my
I don't know
God.
what that means.
Your best work, the height of your work is your opus.
Oh. Well, was he an artist? It's just
that's what I'm trying to look
According
up now.
to some people.
But if he just did this, if this was his only like thing, then I wouldn't say he's an artist. I'm saying he's a fucking like there's a demon here and he's trying to appease it, or some mermaids or something.
What is interesting is that apparently he left his wife and family sometime in the mid 20th century to go sequester on this island. But it all sounds just very artisty to me. I don't know.
Apparently they moved there with him. At least the article I read, they moved there with him and then eventually they left because fuck that.
Divorce.
Apparently he considered himself the island's caretaker and hung the first doll from a tree in order to appease the girl's spirit, and then ended up, you know, in a way it's kind of sweet. He's like giving this girl toys, a childhood, friends.
You know, it's also sweet, childcare in a church. But you find that creepy?
Nice.
Yeah.
Good callback. Instant.
He's taking these dolls that have been abandoned, deformed, and he's giving them a new life and a new home. I think there's a lot of ways to look at this as very sweet.
It's kind of like Toy Story where, you know, the bully like keeps all these old dilapidated toys. I understand what you're saying. That said, I would never, thank God Grayson doesn't want to, I won't step foot on this island.
I would. I think there's something sweet about it.
I think you have less fear of things generally over like, if you were to point out, like, say 100 things, I think I'd be scared of 100 things, and I think you'd be scared of like 70. I would never even start the whole Bloody Mary thing. I would never even like think to do it. It's not funny. It's not cute.
It's a little cute.
I don't go to, remember you guys used to go to like fucking cemeteries in Iowa in the summer?
Because the cemeteries have the best trees. So where else am I supposed to go outside and read?
God, Iowa's sad.
I would write and read there. But I also go to them at night because it's that same feeling of like giddy spookiness.
But never alone. We were always like in a group
with
of
people. Though I would go to during the day, go to the ceremony alone, the cemetery alone, no problem.
Completely different.
What ceremony did you go to, Marion?
For the record, cemeteries aren't creepy during the day at all. There's lots of wildlife there, actually. Lots of butterflies, lots of different insects. It's a very peaceful place during the day, and then at night it gets haunted, spooky,
sinister.
Any honorable mentions we haven't gone for?
On my short list is the Elmina Slave Castle in Ghana that I went to. Just everything about it, super spooky and sad.
Building off of that, any place that the white man built over a gravesite.
Yeah. Where we're like sitting on Indian burial grounds.
Yeah.
Not that I would use the term Indian, but that is the phrase. The native burial grounds. I don't like that.
My other honorable mention is a poorly lit street at night where a man is either walking behind me or towards me.
Yep.
Spooky.
Yeah, I was walking to Amanda's graduation party, and Kara, your friend Blake, was walking behind me on the same street at night, and I basically kind of go into a full-on jog a little bit because I was like, oh, Amanda and I live on the same street, it'll be fine. And then there's this guy, and he like when he got to the party, he was like, yeah, I tried to walk a little bit slower.
Oh,
thanks.
So sad.
Cool, you're nice to meet you.
One time it was both spooky and a poop story, but basically I was on the outskirts of my college campus and was leaving a friend's house and really like needed to go to the bathroom so urgently, but it didn't hit me until I had already like left. And I was walking back. It's like 2 a.m. and there was this guy walking towards me, and I got very, very scared because I was like, oh my God, like there's no way I could defend myself. Have you ever tried to even think about defending yourself when you're about to like shit your pants? It's not possible. It's not possible.
I do often when I have to poop think about that though. That is a thought that runs through my mind.
Like if somebody attacked me right now?
Yeah, how fast can I run? Am I willing to shit my pants? Probably.
Yeah.
And I like stopped because I was so afraid I was going to poop my pants that like I had to like stop and like, you know, I was kind of crouching to get it back in. And I was just so terrified of this guy. And as he got closer, he was like my age, maybe even younger. And he had headphones on and he was like, hey, are you okay? Everything all right? And I realized that I was a spooky one because I'm like over here, like from afar, like suddenly like crouching around, like acting weird. 2 a.m. This guy's just trying to mind his business and walk.
An eel that had been in some brine earlier.
Yeah, I was twisted in knots, man. I was toxic shocking myself.
Damn.
Listen to this. So he would begin collecting lost dolls from the canals and the trash near his island home. The guy on the island doll. I don't know if I need to say that. Not the guy that I saw that night while I was trying not to poop my pants.
Wouldn't it be creepy if he did start collecting dolls from random places? Yes.
Despite the fact that most people found the aisle frightening, he saw the dolls as beautiful protectors, and he welcomed visitors who he would show around, charging a small fee for taking photos. Aww.
Again, still creepy.
I'm on the creep side of this one.
All right.
I would say that if you're in like a religious setting where everybody's like chanting, that's also creepy. Like just because something is like endearing doesn't mean it's not creepy.
I was going to say organized religion, but it's not really a place, you know?
So. Grayson asked protectors from what, Marion?
Probably the mermaids that drowned him.
Right, so therefore the island is creepy because it's surrounded by a bunch of fucking death mermaids.
Oh my God.
That ended up making him drown 50 years later.
Well, he had a good run.
You win some, you lose some.
We've all been there.
I would posit that nobody's drowned since, and therefore
That's probably true, actually.
the efficacy of the dolls is intact.
Because they don't want to go there because of the dolls. So they're just drowning elsewhere.
Sounds like there's a healthy dose of tourism.
Yeah.
There is some tourism.
Also, Uncanny Valley is when like something is almost human-like, but not quite. There's something off about it. And it's riding that uncanny valley in between robotic and human or whatever. There's actually this really great robot that just had a press conference that uncanny valleys so hard. Like,
yes, I saw that.
It's known for its facial expressions, and she is so terrifying. Except for if you see her mouth move, then she's not so terrifying.
Oh, isn't that right? I remember I learned about Uncanny Valley. Sorry, I know that you're about to end it. Because isn't it Polar Express?
Oh, very uncanny.
Yeah, that's how I learned about the term.
Scary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I would say that Uncanny Valley could arguably be the spookiest place. There should be a movie. Is there not already?
There's a
Dibs,
TV
TM,
series
TM
called Megan.
Oh, yeah, but Megan is not... You mean the movie Megan that just came out?
I thought it was a TV series.
Nah, it's a movie. If you're talking about the one that just came out like this past winter.
How many things could be called Megan?
I don't know. But it's she's not really uncanny, though. She's fine. She's very funny. It's a very funny movie, actually. I recommend everyone watch it. I loved it.
The trailer, like it was under the descriptors as comedy, but then the trailer was not funny, like at all.
It's like spooky, but not. It's about this doll who is programmed to protect the little girl at all costs, but then she kind of goes unhinged. But she's kind of justified in who she kills. At one point, there's this like bully that dies mysteriously, but not so mysteriously. And the little girl asks the doll, who's supposed to like help her like get out of her shell, like therapy, like do all sorts of great things. The girl asks the doll, "Oh, do you think like Billy is in a better place?" And the doll laughs and goes, "Honey, boys like Billy don't go to a better place." And I just loved that line. It was like so perfect. It was like, yes, boys like Billy don't go to a better place.
Damn.
You'll never cheer on a 10-year-old getting murdered more in your life. I'll say that. I'll promise you that much.
I wish you were a movie reviewer, movie critic.
Do you want to feel good about a 10-year-old dying? Watch Megan.
Well, this has been my top everything. Kara's the only one that awarded a point during the whole thing, so I think Marion's the winner today. Nice.
I'm the spooky master. I know all the spookiest places. Come with me. I'll take you on a tour to Spooksville.
Or be warned and walk the other way.
If you want to have a spooky time, come to my bathroom. Wink.
Wink.
Title of my sex tape.
Oh my God.
In a good way. Spooky good times. Wink.
It
just keeps going.
I'm your winner and your spooky mayor, Marion.
I'm Kara.
And I'm Mara.
And we'll spook you later, pals. Don't forget to email us at my... What?
Be our number 2 sponsor.
Yeah. And email us at mytopeverythingpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. I think Grayson made a Reddit board where you can talk about a subreddit where you can tell us your top 3 spookiest places. And if you say your pants, we will evict you from that subreddit.
Penis? Yeah, if you say your pants. Well, my first thought was just leave your dick out of it.
We'll put them on timeout.
You'll go to a spooky church basement timeout. And we're going to time out right now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.